Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel, and are Sheffield United the worst team in Premier League history? Because especially after watching them last night, they are atrocious, and the club they need completely gutting. They give me shades of that Derby team that went down all the way in 07-08. But very quickly before we get into that, if you guys could share the video around and subscribe, it helps the channel out immensely. We're trying to hit 350 subs. We are so close to it as well. The support's been great, so if we could try and get there as soon as possible, that would be brilliant. But let's get back into it. As I mentioned in the intro there, Sheffield United, they are abysmal. And the reason they're abysmal is because they are so poor defensively, and the way that they set up, it's just not right for Premier League football. Now, when you look at Sheffield United versus Arsenal, yeah, it's a no contest. Arsenal should be absolutely blitzing them out the water. They are going for a Premier League after all. But at the exact same time, Sheffield United, they're trying to stay in the Premier League, and they've got to go toe-to-toe with all the big boys, really. So why do they just put in such terrible displays? And if last night was a bit of an audition, like, hey, we are here, we're here to stay, we can compete, it was awful. Because you're 5-0 down by half-time, you end up losing the game 6-0, you're thinking, oh, well, the second half was only 1-0. Arsenal didn't care about the second half. They're just there making sure, I know Martinelli went off injured, but they're just basically making sure that no one else really gets injured. They've got Champions League games coming up. They've got a race for the title. They went easy on you, and realistically, if Arsenal wanted, I think they could have put 10 past this team. And the first 3 goals, they're just inexcusable. They are shambolic defending. They're kiddie defending. It's not Premier League standard. It's barely even Championship standard. 3 goals that were so easily avoidable if, yes, cruel deflections, whatever, but it was just too easy for Arsenal getting in front of the Sheffield United boys as if they wanted it more, which they clearly did. Sheffield United just seemed to have given up after 5 minutes of playing. Well, Odegaard scored, oh, well, that's us, we're done for the evening. No, you're not. I don't get it. Do not throw the game plan out the window. That is one thing you should never do. Keep the game plan. Keep tight and concise. Keep packed in there and make it difficult for them. Put in some nasty challenges. Anything. Just show a bit of bite, a bit of character. Not nasty challenges like Mason Holgate's on Matoma, because there's no need for that. But just go show a bit of grit. Go show some aggression. Something. This team, they've been in the Championship for 3 years. They finally get promoted after almost an unjust relegation. After the ball goes over the line, it doesn't. Aston Villa probably should have gone down that year. Look at the contrast where those two teams are. Aston Villa fighting for Champions League football, sold players for 100 million. Sheffield United go down, and I mean, pathetic, really. Where is the sort of, we were robbed, we should have been in the Premier League the entire time? Go fight for it. Show your fans that you actually care. And I get there are teams that, okay, they don't have the best players. That is Sheffield United as well. But you can show passion. You can show the fact that you work well in a structure. It's not the world's most difficult thing to go out and not embarrass yourself. And I hate yo-yo clubs. They don't do anything for me. What is the point of going down, coming up, down, up, down, up? There's nothing to it. It's just, I get Burnley going down. They were in the Premier League for so long, then they've come back up. They played brilliantly. It looked like they got refreshed in the Championship. Their problem is the fact that they don't have the players, and they just won't adapt to a style that, they've not got the players to play the style that they want to do, so they have to have a plan B. They don't have a plan B. Luton play really great, exciting football, but at the exact same time, they don't have the players, they don't have the defenders to play this attacking football. They've got the attackers, that's why they play so well, and they basically give a lot of teams problems, but the defensive side of things, if they didn't have Kaminsky in goal, yeah, they'd be in a lot of trouble as well. But Sheffield United, yo-yo club, remind me a bit of West Brom back in the day, remind me a bit of Sunderland. Like, it's just survival for survival's not fun, but winning the championship, Norwich, it's not fun either. It's meaningless when they come up and down. But you look at teams who have done well. Burnley, Stoke, Wigan, when they came up, they just decided, we're going to be nasty teams. We're going to be horrible to play against. I know Burnley, the first time they came up, they went back down again. But then after that, they stayed in the Premier League for about 10 years or so. Stoke stayed in the Premier League for about 10 years ago. Wigan about 8 or so. So these teams, when they came up, they're not playing pretty football. They're making it difficult. Arsenal hated the long throw-ins of Stoke when Brentford came up. They hated the physicality that they played with straight away. They caused them problems. And I'm not just picking on you, Arsenal. They caused a lot of teams problems. Stoke beat Liverpool 6-1 in Gerrard's final game. They didn't do it by playing nice football. And I know Liverpool, it was a bit of a mess season that year. But at the exact same time, they just play nasty football. They know who they are. They know how to survive. And they know how to get about a mid-table, which, alright, it's not great, you're maybe not challenging for trophies, but that's what you kind of need to do if you want to stay in the Premier League, because teams right now, they're in a weird area where they get so much money from the Premier League that they can actually box out and finance out a lot of teams in the Championship. You think Bristol City, someone who's been in the Championship for God knows how long, do you think they've got like the money that a team like Southampton, Leicester, any of these boys, Leeds coming down? No, but Leeds then don't have the subsequent money to go and challenge with these bigger teams. So it's a conundrum and it's very difficult for teams to go up and down, and that's why there's that yo-yo structure. But things, they need to change there. Back on to Sheffield United. You cannot set up in a way that you're going toe-to-toe with these teams because you're not good enough. It's just plain facts. You don't have the players good enough. You brought in Diaz and he's on the bench. Why? Is he injured? Okay, fair enough, but you need to release him. He needs to be your star man. It needs to be like Anelka when he was at Bolton under Big Sam. They played tight. They played really horrible football, but they had Anelka. They gave him the freedom, and players like Jonathan Elmander. You can't rely on people like Ollie McBurney up front. Ollie McBurney is not good enough to even be in the Championship, let alone the Premier League. So why they're still relying on him, it bemuses me completely. You can't go toe-to-toe with them. Stay tight, stay at the back. I know it's easier said than done, but you got to get some wins. I mean, in their last 7 games, they've let in 5+ goals 4 times. 4 times they've done that. They've conceded 26 and scored 5. That is unbelievable for 7 games work. That is inexcusable. And you would genuinely think they are a League One team that has just come straight into the Premier League and they just don't know what they're doing. And they clearly don't. Chris Wilder, he has come back. Paul Heckingbottom was a disaster. Why they employed a former Hibs manager to be a Premier League manager, it makes no sense whatsoever. So Paul Heckingbottom gone. Right, who are you going to bring in to help you survive? You brought in Chris Wilder. Chris Wilder did okay first time round. Who does well in their second time round? No one really. I mean, you've got Harry Redknapp came back at Portsmouth, won the FA Cup, but Portsmouth, he left them in a terrible situation. They go down because of other financial problems, and we have never seen them again. They're in League One. They were in League Two for a bit. Championship. They are just lost. Chelsea with Jose Mourinho. He came back, won the Premier League. But then where did he leave them after that? About 15th in the table. Conte comes in next, wins the league. And yeah, there you go. It's just one of those where don't bring back old managers. It very rarely works. And even when it does work, it doesn't really work. Gribich, awful goalkeeper. Wes Foderingham, he's played games this year. Why has he played games in the Premier League, even cup competitions? He got binned off by Rangers as soon as they basically got into the Premier League from the Scottish Championship. Why is he playing in the English Premier League, which is obviously a much more competitive league? Jack Butland is in goal for Rangers. He is a much better goalkeeper than Wes Foderingham, and there's a clear reason for that. And then you put in Gribich. My God, what hope do you have there? And Sheffield United, they've lost 8-0 to Newcastle, they've lost 5-0 and 6-0 to Arsenal. They've then lost 5-2 and 5-0 to Brighton. They've lost 5-0 to Aston Villa. Oh, and how could I forget? They've also lost 5-0 to Burnley. That is 7 5-goal defeats basically in there. They've conceded 5 goals 7 times. That's pathetic. They've won 3 games this year. They've beaten Luton, Burnley and Brentford. How they've won a game is beyond me because of the way that they play. And they are lucky that they are on 13 points because it is very much a false position. It should realistically be on 4 points. So the fact that they've scraped some wins in there is a miracle. And no, Derby County's record is probably never getting beaten as the worst team in Premier League history via points, and at the same time they were abysmal. But Sheffield United, you are giving it an awfully good go to try and take the crown off them. So that's my thoughts on Sheffield United. Are they the worst Premier League team ever? Do they beat out Derby County? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, it really helps the channel grow, and I'd appreciate it as well, which is great. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, cheers.